This episode of the Buffalonian Podcast is brought to you by the Buffalonian division of the CastSource Podcast Network, a podcast network built by Buffalonians for Buffalonians, featuring the shows such as the Goat Heads Podcast and the Buffalonian Podcast. We cover Bills, Sabres, and more, with more shows on the way very soon. And the CastSource Podcast Network covers many genres, including sports, business, mental health, marketing, and entertainment, featuring the podcast shows such as Sports Bring People Together, Limitless, Saviors of the Metaverse, and The Athletic Mindset. Learn more at castsource.com/podcast. And without further ado, let's get into the Bills, Sabres, hot takes, trivia, and more of the Buffalonian Podcast. All right, let's go.
We are back. We're back, gents. We're back. You'll pop up in a second. There we are. There's a little out cue there. And we are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali, and as always, I'm joined by Dom Loss and Mike Marino. After a brief hiatus, the cruise ship Wi-Fi really messed us up last week, unfortunately. But without further ado, we've got some Bills, Sabres, lots of Bills and Sabres to go over since we've missed it. So without further ado, fellas, let's kick it into the Bills topic. Free agency. NFL free agency. It's been a beautiful thing. I love it. I love getting back into some serious NFL news. It's been over, 3 months now since the Bills last played a football game. It's really tough to think about. But, what?
Over 3 months?
Hasn't it been?
They played in mid-January?
Like 2, a little over 2.
Oh, it's only March. You're right. I'm thinking it's like April time, but unfortunately, only 2 months. So
Scaring me.
Farther away than we think from the next season. But let's just talk real quick on some signings the Bills have done, and we'll get into some NFL general as well. The Lamar Jackson debacle, the Aaron Rodgers darkness retreat results, which are still not concluded. So they're pending. There's the spinning wheel of death right above his head now. So what do you guys think, though, thinking about the Bills in general? Overall, just general thoughts to kick it off.
Well, Michael, since we talked to Evan Harrington a couple of Fridays ago about, I'll let you kick us off here, bud.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think they didn't have that big splashy thing like Von Miller last year, but I think all the signings so far have been practical. I think we knew they weren't going to be big spenders this year. I think they got some nice depth pieces. I think some of them are honestly a little underrated. I mean, like Taylor Rapp, like he's been a starting safety for 4 years in LA. He's won a Super Bowl. If, say, Hyde isn't ready for the year or one of them goes down, like I'm definitely fine with him starting over like when we had Jaquan Johnson. I'd say Damian Harris is a really nice pickup because he's more of like a power back. And I mean, he had that game against us where he kind of torched us. So, I think he's an upgrade. Maybe not an upgrade over Singletary, but at least a different type of runner. Because I feel like Singletary and James Cook were somewhat similar. So we finally have that bruiser, and I think that puts to rest any Derrick Henry rumors.
Rip the king.
Yeah, I mean, just a few depth signings like Trent Sherfield, David Edwards, Kyle Allen. The quarterback room is full of Allens. It's just not honestly surprising, but like I know Bean said like during that next phase of free agency we might be more active. So plus we need cap space to sign our draft picks, and I think this kind of shows that we're all in on drafting probably a linebacker in the first round because like Tremaine getting 18 a year with Chicago is like there's no way we were able to match that. And there are some other good free agent linebackers that we didn't get. Bobby Wagner went back to Seattle. TJ Edwards went to Chicago too. Levante David back to Tampa. So, I think we're going to want to reset at middle linebacker.
Yeah, I think they've done an interesting job from the fact of it seems they're lined up fully to go full-blown defense, which I know people don't draft full-blown defense. Which I know people aren't probably super excited for. But I've liked that while they haven't made the big move, they just made kind of like consistently made right moves, I would say. Like they've upgraded the depth on your roster. Damian Harris, you knew he might possibly want to be a Bill after, I think last offseason, he was able to pick on NFL Network what game gets aired. And he picked the game that he had like 3 touchdowns against the Bills, but the Bills beat them in Foxborough. So it was kind of bizarre that he did the game that this team lost.
Yeah, you think it'd be the game where he ran like 45 times on us and single-handedly won the game, but
yeah, watch as Joe and I freeze in the 70 miles an hour wind as he rushes for a 70.
That's still like a horrible, not horrible. Like it was a good experience to have together, I think, but just like. That game is like forever going to be in my mind as one of the worst ones I've ever seen. Yeah.
It was like, it was a slow start at the game. And all of a sudden it's like, that is a big hole. He's gone. That's a touchdown.
What? Remember when they were saying Mac Jones was so good in that game, but he only threw 3 times?
Yeah. But I think a lot of the holes in the roster that we were talking about I don't know if filled is the right word, but you feel a lot better about. Wide receiver, adding Deontay Hardy, who now replaces McKenzie. Hopefully he can give you something. I do think it's interesting doing more research on him that he did have a toe surgery that you're going to get back healthy 80% of the time, but you're only going to get back to what you once were 27% of the time, according to Banged Up Bills. So I think that's a little bit concerning. But again, if he's really from the press conference and all, it seems like he's more wide receiver 4 compared to Shakir. So I like that move. I'm a big Sherfield guy. I mean, my dad always called him the GOAT because he dropped that touchdown like late in the season against the Bills in the regular season matchup, and he always was just number 14 for the drop. But he's one of the best run blocking wide receivers, is a good gunner on special teams, so and he has really good speed, so it's kind of just a better version of Jake Kumaro. So I just like how I feel like they've upgraded on people on their depth. And also, added competition throughout the roster.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Damian Harris, I mean, when I was away, I could see the notifications pop up on my phone. I just couldn't act on them, couldn't press them to like read more. So I saw Damian Harris pop up and I said, fantastic. I love it. People can stop saying to draft Bijan Robinson in the first round, which I still see a lot of people saying, or taking Derrick Henry, where, I was a proponent of that. I think very vocally on this podcast as well, but I'm happy with Damian Harris, especially considering that game a couple years back and the way he has played in the Belichick system, where they're rotating running backs on and off. He's still produced, so I'm very okay with that. And then I like the defensive signings. I'm going to be honest with you, because you got to think, we need to have more depth because we struggled with that last year. The injury bug hit us hard early in the season. And depth was not our friend necessarily. So we had a couple guys step up, right? But then even those guys got hurt. The rookies we had in there, Benford broke his foot in this against Baltimore, I think, right? Or was that someone else?
I think Crowder broke his ankle against Baltimore. Benford broke his hand against
that's what
someone.
It was. Yeah, it was early in the season. But I just think I like these depth signings. I don't need a superstar. I don't need a firecracker blockbuster signing. I just like to see that they're still trying to commit to making the team the best it can be and building around what they already have, which already works because the Bills are still 3rd highest odds to win a Super Bowl. Unlike, most people are saying it's do or die. The team's on the downfall, anything you see, whatever. I'd rather not be the favorite. I'm going to be honest with you. I think underdog mentality, hungry dog runs faster. I think that benefits us in the long run, but I don't know. I like the depth. I like the depth.
Yeah. I'm going to propose a question here. It's a silly question.
Okay.
Which player on the Bills picks up number 0?
I was just about to ask that. Calvin Ridley, the gambler. He looks good in number 0 for Jacksonville.
See, Micah Parsons might switch to 0.
I think if anyone does it, I think it's Naheem Hines.
The rule is that it can't be a defensive or offensive lineman, right? That's only like
no lineman. Yeah, could be anyone. Imagine Von.
Honest to God, if before he got cut, I would have said McKenzie, just because I think he'd be the kind of guy that would wear 0.
Josh.
Josh should be fun. No, you know why Josh would never do it though? Is because you know how much money he would have to pay for like all those people that have to like like you have to pay for like all the jerseys that you have out like in stores that are 17 to get to 0. That's why Josh would that's why I can't believe Micah Parsons like just gonna like if I doubt he does it. I think
Calvin
he's gonna
Ridley-
realize how much funds it's gonna cost him to replace all the number 11 jerseys on the shelf, and he's gonna be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Calvin Ridley will just hit the casino and sports gamble, make the money to pay it off, so it's okay.
Damn.
You know, he'll make it back. But
I
don't know.
You know how I will say?
Huh.
I think they're allowed to do it. T-Bass. I think T-Bass.
T-Bass.
That's my bet.
Two's kind of his number, though. I feel like.
Mm-mm.
Like I feel like we got to look at people who kind of got pushed into their number, like they got switched to it. You know.
I don't know. Someone was saying Milano. I mean, maybe
That'd be interesting.
I don't want to see a number 0. Number's gross. Not even a number. Is
Just
0 not even a number?
Wait a second. I'm gonna have to find. Wasn't there a debate about this in like the first 2 episodes of the podcast? We talked about single-digit numbers.
Yeah, I still hate it.
I think 0 came up, and Mike still said it was the most disgusting number you could put on a jersey. So
It is.
I'll have to dig
0?
for that.
Really? It's not even a number.
I just think it's funny that.
Why can't I be like a negative number then? I want to be like negative 13 or something.
Now here's the question:
Why
You're the one
not?
that brought up the question.
Why can't
we
I
have
be infinity?
the single-digit numbers, right?
Infinity is more of a number than 0.
Just turn an 8 sideways. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, like I'll just be infinity.
But here's what you do: if you want to be number 1, but the singular number 1 is taken, you just do 0, 1 now.
No.
Just combine them together. Why not? I mean, if they can do whatever they want with the numbers anyway, you might as well, right?
Why do I even need a number?
They have names. Speaking of names, one more question about back of jerseys, okay? This has been a question I've seen floating around a lot. Are the Allens going to have first initials? Because then
No.
also, Dom, that would be if Josh ever had to put a J on his jersey, he would have to buy the jerseys as well. And
I don't think I don't think.
Think about all the
think that's
Johnsons
right.
and Jacksons and Williams we've had, and they didn't like Kyle Williams, Mario Williams didn't have it.
Yeah, I think in that scenario.
Jaquan Johnson, Taron Johnson.
you don't think
Johnson.
you have to pay it in that scenario?
No, but I agree with Mike that they're not going to do that.
Ew, no. The only time I thought that was appropriate was when it was the Sedines.
Yeah, I would agree.
Or you could be like Gordie Howe and literally say Gordie Howe.
That was a ball
Whalers.
on his end.
Yeah.
Full name.
If you had to pick, though, back to free agency signings, you had to pick one. That's the creme of the creme de la creme, sorry. Who would it be?
The best signing?
Best signing.
Sorry, I'm
On the
distracted.
Bills.
It's like snowing out right now.
Oh, we do live in Buffalo. How about that
Gross
weather?
out. Oh my god, it's gross. Sorry,
I think-
distracted.
I think it's tough because for me, it's like I wouldn't say that they've had like bad signings. I also wouldn't say they've had like A+ signings.
It's kind of been a B tier, I feel
But like if we go okay to like rephrase the question to like the second part of the question too would be like best value. Like I'd honestly say the best value signing was Taylor Rapp. Like that dude's a starting caliber safety. Now him sliding into number 3, maybe they're even going to have more 3 safety looks. They did that a lot in 2017 before Tremaine, before Taron Johnson. You don't know. Maybe that's a wrinkle that McDermott's going to put on the defense now that he seems to be calling plays. Like maybe they're going to have more 3 safety looks. You know, Taylor Rapp more of a really good tackling safety, and obviously we all know an Achilles heel of this defense has been tackling. So adding a guy that could tackle very well is pretty big. So I would say like from a value perspective, it's probably Taylor Rapp. From an actual player perspective, I guess I'm intrigued to see the upside of Deontay Hardy in the offense, but just because those guys are twitchy and can get open fast, has speed. Like Josh loves those kind of guys, and if he can get open and get a bunch of yak yards, I think his ability maybe in the offense to unlock something that the Bills just didn't have last year with McKenzie.
Well, we're fans of yak on this show. That's one thing we have talked about frequently. I would have to 100% agree with you. I have no complaints about what you said. I legitimately think the best value signing is, why am I blanking on the last Rapp, right? Why am I blanking on the last name?
That's it. That is his last name. His first name's Taylor.
I don't know what happened there. Brain fart, but I think he's the best value signing for sure. Just, I mean, I watched a little bit of him on the Rams. There's a screenshot. There's a shot of him. Who's he playing against? Justin Herbert. They're against the Chargers, and he's like 4 feet in the air, like just about to go over the top of this defenseman. And I'm like, okay, this guy's got some spunk. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. And then Hardy, I want to see a quick, fast wide receiver, kind of with more sure hands, because McKenzie kind of had some handling of the football issues, you could say, in the past couple of years, not only receiving but returning as well. He fumbled quite a bit 2 seasons ago, so I think it's a better fit. He's excited to be here. He tweeted out as soon as he landed here that he's excited. He's like, I don't want to see snow on the ground, and everyone's like, you got to get used to it, man. It's going to be here for 8 to 10 months out of the year. So I'm looking forward to seeing, like you said, Dom, his upside and what he can do for this offense, because Josh does love guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you, but like I'm just gonna say Damian Harris, because I mean he brings a new element that I feel like they've been lacking, or at least Josh has had to be that bruising power back. So yeah.
I also like to just point out, we always kind of forget that this guy signed with the Bills because he was a free agent, but I mean, getting Jordan Poyer on a contract, 2 years, a little over $12 million total that's just a wild contract. I'm sorry. That just shows you how brutal free agency could be for like people that miss like the age curve. So I feel bad for him for that perspective. I don't know, like if we turn the question around and say, well, like, what was the worst signing? Like,
could you pick a worst?
Well, I would say worst is a very hard word. Like, because like I don't think they've had anyone where it's been like this is a terrible signing. But like I would say the Connor McGovern signing is, compared to like Isaac Samolo, who signed with the Steelers, got a very similar contract and was probably the best guard on the market, in my opinion, from the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had a Liz Frank injury. I think some of it's kind of maybe the scared of the medicals, but comparing those contracts is tough value. So I would just say McGovern, just because that's the most bread they handed out, and like there might have been better other options, but
they apparently did that because he can play center too.
That's true. Well, and also, the Bills, I think we really saw a theme this year of them going after guys in their mid-20s who were just kind of going into like their 5th season, going into their primes, and maybe haven't hit their peak, have starting caliber experience, but also have the ability to like improve. I think that's a lot different from
compensatory picks
years before. With Roger Saffold, kind of a opposite case of just kind of getting a guy that had experience, was kind of you thought you had your floor, and then he just was terrible. So I like the approach this offseason, because you're going to have to find cheap free agency is a possibility where they could find cheap talent. And I mean, listen, they got Damian Harris for under $2 million. Hardy's contract's pretty cheap compared to what could be Sherfield. A guy that had 400 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. For him to be under $2 million as well. So, bargain bin hunting has looked pretty good so far for the Bills.
Yeah, I think they got to watch some extreme couponers and really kind of figure out how to budget here, because those people save hundreds, But
before we move on, can I just say I think Brandon Beane really does need to send a thank you card to the Houston Texans organization.
You're taking Motor in a way.
Not only do they sign Motor to that contract, but they signed Case Keenum to that contract, which I don't really know who they were bidding against for Case Keenum's services. But it allowed the Bills to be, I believe, the Bills to have lost technically 3 free agents, and compared to the 2 that they gained, so they're positive in that, I guess negative in that aspect. So they have currently the 3rd round pick that Tremaine's gonna gift them next offseason, so his loss will not be in vain.
No, and I think that's a great point. I was very sad to see Tremaine go. And you knew it was bound to happen. We talked about it right when it did. I mean, of his caliber, calling plays at his age. Like, there's no way. And we said out of the two, it'd be the easiest to keep Poyer, and look at what ended up happening. I mean, we called it first, I think, maybe, but it was.
I think the easiest was I guess easiest from money perspective was keep Poyer, but I think I just assumed Poyer was long gone. So like I don't know.
I think everyone did. Everyone thought he was going to the Miami Dolphins. I think even a lot of Dolphins fans did. I'm going to be honest with you, because that's a lot of what the rumor mill was, is that he wanted to go somewhere warm, and just, he lives in Florida anyway, so why wouldn't you?
I have to ask. Mike proposed a question, and now I must propose a question. So now, as being a loyal Tremaine fan, had his jersey for 5 years. I am now a Bills jersey free agent. So I guess it's a two-part question. Should I, if someone gets the number 0 for the Bills, should I get their jersey?
No,
who should
don't
I
even need to hear it. Don't even need to hear it. Yes, you get it. Like, I don't even hear the other one. Huh?
Yes for 0 or no?
Yes.
For 0?
Yes for 0.
I feel like it matters who it is.
Well,
I just picture you're gonna get the 0 and it's gonna say like number 1 fan on the back or something, or like number 1 dad. Like
custom jersey.
Yeah, it's
someone already customized one. It's a Bills jersey with a 0 on the back, and the nameplate it says Super Bowls.
That's brutal.
That is tough. So
I saw that floating around today.
Which people should I be considering?
Well, here's the thing. I think you got to look for someone who's got longevity on the team. You want to get some use out of the jersey before they get turned over, right? Easy answer is Josh Allen. Okay, we know he's going to be here for a while. Another easy answer, Stephon Diggs. Even though he's a diva in the offseason, we can't bear to lose him for money's sake, so you're not losing him. I mean, Dawson Knox, if he starts playing like a top tight end, he might stick around for a while. He's getting paid like one.
Why don't you wait until the draft?
That might be a big thing.
Get a new guy, get the first round pick, and
you know what?
with him for 5 years.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I'll get a Bijan Robinson jersey.
There you go.
Please don't get me fired.
In all honesty, with the whole Bijan Robinson thing, I don't think any of the Bills' moves squash really. Like I think the majority of their picks are going to be defense, but I still think the first round pick could really be any position. Because like I don't think they made a single move that's like, all right, like if you draft Bijan Robinson, you cut Damien Harris, it's like, all right, you signed him for $2 million. Like the same thing of like wide receiver, you just add another wide receiver to that room. I mean, you could probably keep 6 Sherfield as your 6, so that doesn't change anything. Your interior offensive lineman, that doesn't really change. Like that's just another piece, and then offensive tackle. So, and then of course, obviously, there's holes on defense a little bit, especially up front in the front 7, but.
Yeah. Ed Oliver might walk too, I guess. So he wants them. He posted, "Show me the money," and then everyone's like, "Oh, he's gone. No way." After the performance he's had, unfortunately. But I don't know. I just love free agency. I can't really. It's amazing. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's one of my favorite times of the season when there's no season. So, because football is now a 12-month-a-year sport, because we wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't. I mean, we struggle with it. July, we're grasping for straws on what to talk about, but I mean, we get it done. But what do you guys think? Just one last hypothetical question for you, and then we can move along here, because we have a lot to cover. What is the, like, I know we don't really have like a need, like you said they were going BPA. What is your dream, like, best player available to be available at pick 27 to, like, for the Bills to get? Like, who is your first rounder? Like, if you had to pick anyone.
That's a tough question.
I mean, you could be practical and go for like an offensive tackle. So like DeJuan Jones or the dude from Ohio State, Paris Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could be practical, but like I don't want to be practical. So what about like Quentin Johnston or like Jordan Addison?
Yeah, I mean, both of them are interesting. Quinn Johnston's actually, it's kind of funny. He's getting trashed because he's actually, for being such a big body, he's actually really bad at contested catches, which is kind of funny. But I would say, I think Jackson Smith-Jigba, just because I think he's the kind of guy that really would fit with Josh, the short area quickness.
Mm-hmm.
And also maybe potentially an offensive tackle like Darnell Wright. Mike mentioned a couple, but if we're really being honest and we're being completely unrealistic, probably a guy like Will Anderson, just falls all the way to 27 from my top 5 pick. But if we're being if he answers your question truthfully, it's that one. But if we're being marginally realistic and trying to be like people that could be in the range, I think Smith-Jigba. But I think he may have, with his performances in the combine and pro day, may have moved up too far. So
yeah. No, Jigba would be mine. I'm a big Jigba guy. I like it. There's something about him, and you said he's very quick, but you're absolutely right in the fact that he outperformed and has shot himself.
Kind of like a slot receiver that you'd be having since Cole Beasley. Unless you want to make Khalil Shakir your slot receiver. I mean,
I don't know. Maybe use him more than like 2 games this season, and we could see. I mean, you try him in a couple places, right? Maybe use who we draft. That'd be kind of exciting, wouldn't it? Instead of having him ride the bench. I don't know.
Or we force feed Diggs for the first half of the season, and the second half he's invisible.
It's because everyone knew we were going to force feed him. They could read that like a book. Because Guppy Davis had flippers. The ball was slipping through his hand. He couldn't grab anything. I don't know. Just getting fired up about last season. But Dom, if you want to take us through this comp pick bingo, what is this?
A little bit. Yeah, I briefly touched on it. Pretty much, you have to lose more free agents than you acquire, and there's a certain threshold of salary. So like Damon Harris, Trent Sherfield, Taylor Rapp, they do not qualify because they didn't make enough money based off their snap count. I don't know the whole logic.
Nice save.
So they
Wait, are you sputtering here? What's going on? Do you not know what's happening?
Yes, they lost 3 free agents in Keenum, Singletary, and Edmonds, and then they gained McGovern and Hardy. So it's obviously they lost 3, gained 2. So they would have the compensation from the. I think it's interesting that they get the compensation from the top guy. So it would be the 3rd round pick from losing Tremaine. So I think that's exciting. So potentially something to look out for. So then talking, obviously, Dean really talked about that when we talked about the Taylor Rapp signing of it being under the threshold, so you'd still have potentially the comp pick in play. And then so talking more about Bean and McDermott, they were obviously at the meetings in, I believe it was Arizona, NFL meetings, Phoenix, and then so they talked they really made an emphasis on Josh taking less hits while still being Josh. I think basically every fan can agree with that.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with that one. Week 1, he's stiff arming people. Like, okay, all right, you can show off, right? You can do that, but let's let someone else take the big hits. That was my big draw for Derrick Henry, honestly, right? Because you have someone as big as Josh, built like a linebacker, right? And just big. And he's going to take those power hits. You don't have to send your quarterback as your power runner. I think Harris can definitely take some of the kill off of him. You know what I mean? You're not going to risk his body as much anymore. That's for sure. And maybe utilize the 2 pass catching running backs on some screen passes instead of, drafting one and just he fumbles on the first touch of his career. And then you you throw him in a darkness retreat like Aaron Rodgers for a couple weeks. It's just, I can't get behind that, but I'm all for Josh Allen not taking as many hits because we want him to be Josh Allen as long as Josh Allenly possible because he's going to age out of it at some point, right? He's going to become – he can't do this for the rest of his career. He's already in year 6. So
he's in his prime right now.
He's in his prime. But as we'll find out later in the show, we have a new segment Dom has created.
Listen, man, we don't want this conversation a couple of years to potentially be him involved in that segment. So
we don't PHP. We don't want him past his prime. All right, like that, we can't have that, especially the way he plays. We cannot. So, just a quick question. I know we've had a lot of quick questions in this segment. We're catching up. It's been a while. DeAndre Hopkins ate some poppy seeds on a bagel last year, apparently. Was suspended for some peds in his system, right? A lot of people want him to come to the Bills. He's a favorite to land here, honestly, betting odds wise. I don't see it happening at all. Honestly, if we're talking winter storm wise here, all right, we have a watch and then an advisory. It was a watch for a while, right? It was a watch for a couple weeks. We are merely at an advisory right now. The storm is moving eastbound, right? It's going that way. So I don't think it's going to happen personally. What are your guys' thoughts, opinions on DeAndre Hopkins officially or not officially? Possibly.
Probably won't happen. I doubt it will happen, but I mean,
would you want it to happen?
For like a mid-round, like a 4th, 5th-round pick, sure, because he's a starting caliber wide receiver, and then if he's double teamed, then you have Diggs 1-on-1 and vice versa, and it just gives you another legit top target to throw to. I mean, yeah, he'd be expensive, but like I think he'd probably do really good. You just gotta have him and Diggs buy into the fact that none of them are gonna get like a billion targets, which they probably both want. So that might be a big issue.
Yeah, it would just kind of be like compensation, how much salary comes back. I think the Bills are in a position where they need Arizona to eat salary, but they also know the market. So they probably don't want to give up a lot of capital at the same time. So I think the Bills are just kind of chill if staying pat for now and just kind of waiting. I mean, we've seen it in free agency with how they've waited for the market to kind of settle on some guys like Poyer, Rap Harris. I think this is the same kind of situation. They've kind of set their price that they're willing to pay for Hopkins and with the salary, and it's kind of just now up for Arizona to either accept or move on to another offer.
Yeah.
I wanted though to happen, I mean, it would be sick. I mean, in my dreamland, like, I mean, having Hopkins and Diggs, like those are two top dogs, like come playoff time, you know, Diggs and Hopkins as your top two kind of, I think instantly makes you up there with the Hill and Waddle, Chase and Higgins and the, top receiver duos in the entire league.
Yeah, I think, as Mike alluded to, and you too, that it would be, I don't want to say divas, but like two very type A personalities wanting their share. And if they don't get it, I feel like that might cause some internal issues. So I don't know. I would like to, as you said, Dom, Dreamland, I would love it. I really would. I'd love to have a stacked wide receiver core in Dreamland. It's like the same draw as OBJ, right? I mean, look at him in his career. Yes, he's coming back from an injury, but another all-star wide receiver. It'd be great to add to the roster, but it's just like we're working with what we got at this point. And Davis had an off year. Don't count him out just yet. Like, kind of, I think you got to wait a little bit here. And I don't think, as being said, we're not going to see a blockbuster. So I wouldn't be holding your breath, any of you Buffalonians out there wanting D-Hop. So we'll see him go somewhere else, I feel like. But anything else, fellas?
Welcome back, Jordan Phillips.
Yes. More recent news. Jordan Phillips is back.
Was he back? I just thought he went on a visit.
No, he's back.
They signed him 1 year, $3 million.
He's back. Like, we're back this week. He's back.
Wait, like right now?
Yeah, they signed
earlier today.
I saw it on my Instagram earlier today. Yeah, they signed him.
I literally sent it. Just ignore me. It's okay. I know I'm irrelevant.
I followed this page today, Satire NFL. So I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be interesting. Lightning McQueen went to the Chargers. Like, it was just like random stuff. Like, it was funny though.
I don't know how I feel about that.
What, Lightning McQueen to the Chargers?
No, I'm just not
Ka-chow.
I mean, I guess the name of the game for Jordan Phillips is just consistency at this point, like, and injuries. Like last year, he obviously had that torn rotator cuff that made him just a complete liability on the field. And then obviously his previous stops in Buffalo, I think he had close to 10 sacks 1 year, but
I think 9.5.
But like a lot of them were in like 5 games worth.
Didn't he have like a 4-sack game?
Yeah, like he just needs to be more consistent. And I guess it's interesting what they're going to do with the D tackle room. Like, I guess, are you really going to run it back? I mean, you have Phillips, Settle, took a pay cut. Oliver's going to look like they're going to stay. Obviously, they have Daquan Jones, the stud. Like, I don't know. I guess they're going to run it back. I just feel like that room was really, other than Daquan Jones, from my opinion, really underachieved last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, I don't know. I still feel like that could be maybe a position where they invest a draft pick in, like a true, because the problem really is both Phillips, Settle, and Oliver are all like that 3-tech, get up the field, D tackle, and only really Daquan Jones is kind of that 1-tech, kind of takes on eats up blocks kind of defensive tackle, and if he gets injured like he did and missed the Bengals game, they're kind of exposed there. So I don't know.
I do have one more little hypothetical for you guys. All right. So the Bills in recent years, when they haven't really had a quarterback or an offense, they've had a very good offensive line and defensive line, right? We've had some stars on there. If you had to bring back one defensive lineman, let's say from the drought era, post Super Bowl era, all right? One defensive lineman anywhere on the line, edge rusher, whatever, and one guy on the offensive line. I'll start. I'll tell you who it is, right? So I might get some flack for this one, all right? First of all, defense, Mario Williams. A lot of people are saying Marcel Darius, okay? Marcel Darius was big presence on the line, but I'm going Mario Williams. I think he's maybe Kyle Williams. I don't know, but Mario's my pick. And then on offense, this is where it gets interesting, all right? I know this guy's has some issues. Bullygate, all that jazz. Richie Incognito. I would bring him back on the O-line.
From the drought era?
From the drought. I mean, Eric Wood probably would be who I would bring back from the drought era. But
you do know that in the drought era, the Bills had like prime young Jason Peters, right?
I did forget about that until you just mentioned that.
Literally Hall of Famer.
Didn't he start as a tight end?
Yes, undrafted tight end. Like literally, you could put Jason Peters at left tackle. You could move Dawkins to either right tackle or he played guard in college. Like, yeah, you might be having a little bit. Dawkins would have a tough time adjusting, but Jason Peters is literally a Hall of Fame left tackle. Like
I forgot about Jason Peters. I'll give you that. So
I think that is the easiest pick for offensive lineman. No,
I changed my answer. I'll go with that. I'll cook. I mean, Richie Incognito is second for me though.
Defensive line's tough because Mario was pretty good. I think you'd have to go Mario. Either that or I mean, you really can't go wrong with Mario.
He got stuck by the Ryan brothers.
If he played in the system, I think he would be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they moved him to outside linebacker.
Hey, man, he was a good coverage linebacker. What can I say? They saw his coverage skills more than his pass rushing ability, apparently.
Cool.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah. I'll stick with I'll go Eric Wood just because I think center is more of a need than left tackle right now. Not that Mitch Morse isn't bad, but I think Mitch Morse just should retire, like for his own safety. Honestly, like that man gets another concussion. Like,
look at you looking out for player safety.
And then defense, I'll go for that team leadership, veteran leadership. Kyle Williams, man.
One of my favorite Bills plays of all time is putting him in as running back. That still resonates with me to this day.
I remember when he scored a touchdown. That was pretty good.
He didn't play running back.
What?
He wasn't a running back. He was the fullback.
Sorry.
Wow. So
he scored a rushing touchdown. Oh my God. All right. But now we're gonna move on to the faint heart-beating Sabres for a playoff race at this point. But before we do, I would like to bring up the Sports Bring People Together podcast. You should listen for entrepreneurial conversations with those in sports, and who knows where the chats will take you, but sports got us all here together in the first place. Find the show wherever you listen to your podcasts, or simply visit sportseplus.com. And now we are going to move on to our Buffalo Sabres, who are plugged into the life support system at this point, hanging out for dear life. There is still a chance. Everything else has to come crumbling down for everyone else. And we need to actually consistently play well. But there's one uber positive outlook here. And I know we're a little late to the party on this one. I wish I could play the Hallelujah chorus right now. Just the Hallelujah. Because Devin Levi has arrived in Buffalo. He's officially here. And we've been talking about it. We were didn't we talk about it the day it happened with Harrington, Dom? Like before?
Yeah, we talked about how it was eventually going to happen because he was already out of the tournament by then. It was kind of just waiting,
It was the day.
It was debatable if he was going to go play in Rochester or he was going to go play in Buffalo. And obviously, he got his. I don't want to say got his way because that sounds weird, but Levi's in Buffalo, and I think that was kind of his leverage is that he wanted to, start in Buffalo, and
they had to win the fans back somehow, man. And I think they kind of have. But what were your overall thoughts just kind of rumbling through your mind as soon as you saw that I saw that tweet come out, and it was just like Kevin Adams cooked. Like he cooked. And I was excited to see it.
I think it's good because I mean, obviously he's our hopeful franchise goaltender that we've been lacking for the past decade.
You
I
think we'll see him on Friday when we go?
there's a legit shot, I think, but I'm definitely on the boat of that he should be in Rochester right now. And honestly, I think he should be in Rochester all of next year. And then 24, 25 is when you see him make his NHL debut. Because I don't know, it's just weird with goalies. Because we've seen like Carter Hart and Spencer Knight, like they were good like when they first came out, and then they like have slumped. And, usually you see goalies, they don't really become consistent guys until they're like 24, 25, 26. So I think it's just too important of a position. He's too important of a prospect to rush in and just let him get caved in, because like I don't really trust this defense. And can you really expect a 21-year-old to stand on his head in his first NHL game? Like,
yes,
no.
let's
just tank the confidence right off the bat.
Yeah, he's easily the most important player. He's now on the Sabres, so it's kind of weird to say this, but he's still, I would say, the most important. He hasn't played a game yet. So the player who hasn't played, or prospects that have not played in Buffalo yet, he's easily the most important because he's like one done. If he doesn't perform, they don't really have anyone behind him in the prospect rankings that can, be that guy, be the starting. Okay.
Listen, they have a 1-year-old they could call up at any point.
The dude that consistently has, I think I looked at the stats. Like someone tweeted the stats of Lennon, and he has like an 867 save percentage throughout like every league he's been in this year. So
nice.
Yeah, if that gets you
second round pick
awake in the morning. Yeah, second round pick over some pretty good players that were on the board at the time. But whatever, in Adams we trust. But Levi's obviously the most important player that hasn't played a game yet, and I think it's exciting. I think that when you see him sign, it's just excitement because obviously he could have came back and you really would have sweated it out. It's happy that someone wants to be part of the organization, and everything he said so far seems to be pretty legit. I would say I would agree with Mike in the stand of I think he'll play in Rochester next year, but I do think he'll have an opportunity to potentially play meaningful games next year for the Sabres. I think they'll give him that opportunity. I like that he's up here now just because Craig Anderson's here and like you have some veterans and you could get a game or two in. But kind of as Mike's, it's interesting. You don't want to tank the confidence. And also, I think what's hard with goalies is that you could kind of surprise people, and then all of a sudden people have a scouting report on you. And once they get an actual, it's kind of like the night when the Sabres lost in the shootout, like with Lucas Ruzek, he should have been a shooter because there's no way the Canadians have a scouting report on what he does in a shootout. There's just no way. So, like, that's why you always kind of do that. I mean, it's like Granado should have done that, but it's like with Levi, I think they're going to be breaking down college film on him, to prepare for him if he's going to start. Like, once he gets actual game experience, people are going to be able to figure out really what his weaknesses are, what his true weaknesses are, and then they're going to be able to exploit it. Like, is he bad glove side? Is he bad blocker side? That kind of stuff. And that could be dangerous if he plays actually too much, I would say, this season.
Yeah, as nice as it is to see him here and on the team, it is nerve-wracking because you're absolutely right, and he could get 10 goals scored on him, right? And because he's not up to speed yet, and there he goes. His career is over. He's got a mental block where he cannot get past it, right? Of course, very extreme scenario. That's not going to happen.
Better hope ESPN doesn't interview him because they'll just keep saying,
listen,
like poor Eric Comrie, every question, 10 goals. Like, bro, that's why ESPN sucks at hockey. Like, ESPN is so overrated.
Stephen A. Smith said it himself. All he knows about hockey is that the hockey puck is black. So that's what we're dealing with here on ESPN, sports coverage of hockey. So, we could do better. I think I might make a sales pitch to ESPN on this one and be like, listen.
They have a show. The Point is on like once every like month.
That's the problem.
They don't care. They don't care.
That all aside, ESPN,
NHL doesn't care. They made a deal with Fanatics for their jerseys.
Yeah, because
if they really cared, they would have gotten
money.
like CCM or something. But no, let's get Fanatics.
It's all about money. That's it at the end of the day.
11-year contract with Fanatics. Are you kidding me?
Sorry. I mean, the NHL wonders why MLS is catching up to them.
You're right.
Example.
Hockey's a great sport. It's just like,
listen,
bad
MLS is on the rise. Ted Lasso's out. People are loving it. Like it's people are going crazy for it.
Maybe with that new stadium, Buffalo gets an MLS team.
Maybe. What would we call him?
The Stampede.
Buffalo FC or FC
Do we
Buffalo.
sponsor them? Do we have our logo on their jersey? Is the real question.
Can we afford that?
Yeah, do
That's
we
the
have like
question.
a
Do we have
$1 million?
multi-million
Listen,
dollars
We
to
each
spend?
can take out a mortgage for $800,000, and
No,
we
it'd
can
be
do it.
more than that. Are you kidding me?
You think?
Probably.
Oh, I mean each.
Yeah, it'd still be more than, what would that be? 2.4 million? Definitely.
Even
more.
not even like under the armpit. You don't think they would do it?
Okay.
Why would you want that? That's a terrible spot.
I don't know.
Why would you waste $2.4 million on? Back to I can't with that.
Back to Devin Levi. I think it can destroy his confidence, but I also think he might exceed expectations. But while Dom, I didn't even think about what you were saying about the scouting reports until you said it. So it was just that's a whole nother thing on top of it. It's just gonna be interesting to see how he adapts right away. If he looks like very different positions, right? Owen Power came into the league last year, played 8 games, of course, very small sample size, but you could tell right away that he's made to be there, right? And yes, he made some mistakes even this season. His confidence hasn't faltered. He's been a pretty consistent kid all year round, right? Younger than us. Levi, I think, can have the same type of a thing. I think he's excelled so much at the position already for his age, where he might not be up there with NHL goaltending yet, but I think he can make a mark and kind of show like, okay, he's gonna be sticking around here. So I think that's more what's going to happen. I would hope to not see your confidence scenario happen because that would be detrimental to the city of Buffalo. It might burn down. You know, we finally get our goalie since Ryan Miller and this happens, but I think it'll be okay at the end of the day.
I will say this. I'm firmly now on the bandwagon of the Sabres should trade for UC Saros. Because UC Saros has been pretty nice. Said he watches Devin, one of the best goaltenders in the league, watches Devin Levi. Saros, undersized goaltender. I think he's actually under 6 foot. Levi, I think, is a shade over 6. So I think he's 6'1". So like 2 smaller goaltenders in the league. I think he could actually be a really good mentor for Levi. And I mean, they could help each other, I guess, vice versa. I mean, Jake Onger, one of the best goalies in the league, said that Levi was a quote unquote stud. So I think the expectations are kind of through the roof. I mean, he's one of the best goalie prospects.
7th round pick.
I know. I mean, good for him.
Florida.
I mean, he's dominated everywhere, every stop he's been in since he's been drafted. So I think it's going to be intriguing to see him take on, the NHL level. Oh, and hopefully they're in person. That would be a pretty sick memory.
We were talking the other night. We saw Jack Quinn's first game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mike, do you remember?
Yeah, he almost missed his first goal because I was buying I was either in the bathroom or concession or something.
No,
I don't know.
You went to go get a popcorn.
Yeah, nice popcorn. And then, Dom, we saw Owen Power's first home game. So we've seen a couple.
I saw Jason Pominville's last home game.
Did he save
That's
himself in that game?
cool.
What's that?
Did he save himself in that game too?
No.
Oh,
brutal.
It is brutal. But I think if we could
Sabres,
see him on
literally
Friday,
a Sabres legend, like a legit Sabres legend.
Yeah, all the great things he's remembered by. Just, it's a tough moment to save yourself, but
it is.
I digress. He's wearing 27. It's a very interesting numbers choice.
About Goalie Academy, as
I like the story behind it though.
Listen, we need Gergensons to leave and Coolidge to wear 28. So then we get
Yes.
28, Levi 27, Darlene 26, Power 25, Cousins 24, your boy Samuelson 23, Quinn 22, and then blank because Kyle also is 21.
Wait, why? What's the difference?
What do you mean?
He wants straight numbers.
I want like the stud, like all the young studs to be like in a line. Like
Coolidge wearing 52. Are you kidding me?
Who is?
Coolidge.
No, he's not. He's gonna
mark my words.
Then we got 53, 52.
Yes.
He's gonna wear 52.
Okay. We'll see.
Madison Voice and Rock 93.
Are we? Is that a friendly wager between you two on that one?
No, I'm already gonna owe him $5 from Florida. Probably not make it win the Stanley Cup this year. So
That was a good bet, man.
What a gamble! Oh my god,
that's a good bet. At the time, honestly, that was legit. Like you had the favor for that, and then
I mean, they won the President's Trophy. I thought they.
Yeah, and then they hired Paul Maurice.
Yeah, once that happened, I should just paid you the $5.
So.
Oh my god! What
anyway,
a fall from grace. In all seriousness, though. But No, I think
So going, I guess transitioning, a little bit from Levi to just like another reason, I guess you could associate Levi with this is just they're out of the race pretty much. I mean, unless a miracle happens, and so I think
I
that's
believe in
also like
miracles. I believe.
I think that was a situation where you didn't want to put Levi in during the race potentially because you wanted your best chance of winning and you couldn't tell if it was Levi, even though it probably honestly might be. So I guess that's also added pressure. Is I think they're playing a little bit more loose now. I think the pressure to try and get to the playoffs a little bit got to them. I think that's a really good experience. So hopefully next year when they're in the probably a similar situation that they understand how they faulted this year, and it gets good experience for next year.
Yeah. I think just talking about like playoffs and stuff, we've said this a couple times. It was not an expectation for this season to have a playoff berth, right? Wild card or not.
Yeah.
It was an expectation to see improvement, which we have seen, I think, in a multitude of ways. This is an extra add-on. If it doesn't happen, yes, am I going to be disappointed? But am I going to be like, oh, we tanked, Granado's gone, like all that? Absolutely not. I think this season, I'm going to quote the Incredible Hulk in Avengers Endgame here. I see this as an absolute win. So, I mean, I'm excited to see the future, too. We have a great prospect pool still that needs to play.
Honestly, something I didn't expect was that Ryan Johnson will sign with us at some point. I thought he was a goner.
Yeah. They
Nice.
play in the Frozen Four this week in Minnesota does, and who knows? Maybe it's kind of a power situation where he also signs and gets some games in.
One last thing, kind of do a shout out to our Canisius College rep here in the middle.
Oh,
they had a 2-1 lead, 2-2, and then your buddy there got a nice targeting penalty, and that was it for them.
Yeah,
literally nail in the coffin.
Oh my god!
Killed them.
We're not gonna talk about
8-2, 6 unanswered goals in the third period.
I'm pretty sure it was 9-2. So
whatever it was brutal. That was a brutal third period for Canisius.
Yeesh. Listen, what a call out! Oh my god!
Listen. At least we made the tournament.
You did beat Niagara, so.
And we were on ESPN.
And you got caved in on ESPN.
Hey, listen, we showed a lot of heart. Okay?
You got caved in. Not a good look for Atlantic hockey.
You got a point.
When you play the number 1 overall seed to a 3-2 game after 2 periods, I consider that to be a win. So,
did you win?
Did
you win?
Did they win? Transition us back to the Sabres. I can't believe the Sabres are going to be the team that's going to give me solace right here in this moment. But Jack Quinn, my guy. I'm gonna give a shout out to Jack. If we're just shouting at people, Jack Quinn, I think he's the best 2-way forward on the team right now.
I would agree.
Which is kind of remarkable to say, seeing that I think everyone expected him to kind of be a one-way goal scorer going up in the prospect pool, especially last year with the Amherst. But he's a 2-way stud, and I think he's going to be one of those guys that could potentially. I don't think he'll ever win the Selke because it's a center's award, but I think he could be up there, kind of like in that Mark Stone territory of getting like actual top 5, finishes potentially.
No, yeah, I think he's exceeded expectations, like you said. It was meant to be.
Yeah, it's funny how like when it was the pick, it was like everyone was like, "Oh my god, we just got Jack Quinn," and now it's like, we expected him to kind of be like a Jeff Skinner type player, like he was just like a goal scorer, but he's actually developed nicely into a well-rounded player. I think we can say the same, like kind of like Peyton Krebs, how when we got him, he was like a top 6 projected prospect, and now he's kind of like that third line center.
And Dom shook his head on that one.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Krebs has been a little iffy, but yeah.
I think he's been fine. No,
I think of Krebs, this is going to be. I think he's made such strides overall from like last year. Like the talk going into the season was, is he going to should he even be on the roster? Should he be in Rochester, especially if he struggles early on? And now it's like he's now solidified himself as a legit NHLer. It's now how high is his ceiling going to be offensively? Like, we already know his floor of that bottom six center, but I also think it's also up to Adams to kind of give him options next year, bottom of the lineup, to have more offensive potential with him. Because right now he's stuck with Girgensons and Oposo, which, like, what are you gonna do? And then occasionally he'll get a shift with Middlestat and Olofsson. Like, he never really gets. I think that's really been the biggest whiff, from my opinion, is that with Tage going down, I would have liked to see Krebs kind of take that role of next to Tuck and Skinner for a game to see what could happen. But Granato's love of Middlestat, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every good thing he does, 10 extra games, and that accumulated over time. So he's got another season at least. So I think
right.
we're gonna be
So
stuck.
I got 3 questions. We talked a lot of questions about the Bills. Now I got three kind of interesting questions. So the first question: who do you think is more important to the future success of the organization, Don Granato or Kevin Adams?
Kevin Adams.
Because
I think he's brought in the right people. Like, he's drafted well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the question with Granato is, he's a great developmental coach, right? But game time decisions and whatnot, that's a lot of, like, pulling goalies. Like, I mean, we're already seeing that. Like, I think that's kind of where people are nervous. Like, yes, he's great at developing players, but can he take us all the way? But I think Adams is definitely more important.
I would agree. I think Adams is more important from the perspective of, I think he has to add more to this roster, but I think eventually he is going to have to do the unpopular, like, probably the unpopular thing in the locker room and get rid of Granato. And it's just like it's just kind of a situation of when is the best time. Like, obviously not this year, because the last year's improved. Next year, if they miss I don't want to scapegoat him either. I think it's interesting if they're ever going to be able to, Adams is ever going to be the GM to get rid of Granato, to be honest. I think it's an interesting, I don't know. But Adams is most important just because, I just think the GM is more important than the coach in this aspect of, the future. So my second question: you had to keep 2 players for next season out of Casey Middlestat, Victor Olofsson, Henry Yokiharu, Eric Comrie, and UPL. What 2 players are you having gun to your head having to keep on the roster? On the NHL roster. On the NHL roster. You can't put them down. That's cheating.
That's, oh my God. Honestly, I'll keep the tandem.
Really? Oh my gosh, you could keep the goalie tandem?
Yeah, I hate Casey Middlestat and Victor Olofsson. Not hate, but they need to go.
I did not expect that. And Yokiharu then?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not expect that.
I'm with Mike on this one. Casey Middlestat's a whiff 90% of the time. Olofsson only scores on an open net 90% of the time. Like, it's just like, I feel like
depends on, is next season's plan the way I want it to go, or Levi's in the minors all year, or is he getting a chance? Because that depends. Well, I mean, because Comrie's, honestly, he's not a bad backup.
I would say
not very good in general.
Try and be.
I think if they bring in a third goalie, I'd keep the tandem.
Actually, you know what? No, just do whatever you want. Because
I'm sticking with the tandem, honestly.
Yeah, there's no way they're getting rid of Middlestat, realistically.
No.
I would say, gun to my head, if I had to keep 2 of them, I would keep Comrie and Yokiharu. Because I think Comrie's a decent backup who can easily be waived. UPL can probably be waived back to the AHL. And Olofsson's just got an easy out for me, because I think even Granato's good enough for him. I would get rid of Middlestat strictly because Granato's in love with him, and I need to move on from him. Now, does Casey Middlestat prove to me that he could be a good third liner? Absolutely. But to me, I just can't trust Don Granato with him at all. Like, he's playing first line center now because Casey Middlestat. Like, I don't understand how Casey Middlestat didn't play center for like a month, and then all of a sudden he's playing center and centering the top line. Like, you had Payne Krebs right there. All you had to do was just have Krebs be the number 1 center. Like, I don't understand that. And just have Girgensson slide over to be that 4th line center. Like, I would give it a Middlestat just for that. Comrie is better than UPL right now, so I would do that. And then Yokiharu, I'll keep Yokiharu because, for my money, Stillman, looking back at that, that's a great trade right now. I'm going to be honest. But I do think Ryan Johnson signs, but I think there's a real chance Ryan Johnson's in the AHL next year because they're going to slow his development down, even though I think he's pretty pro ready. And then I just don't know if if they're going to do that, I don't know if I could get rid of Yoki Haru and create like kind of like a depth hole on my roster. If that's the
True.
plan.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I just don't like Middlestat.
I guess I just feel like you can get more value for Middlestat, Olofsson, Yoki Haru than you could if you were to get rid of like Luukkonen or Comrie. So, yeah, I mean, like realistically, all 5 of them probably wouldn't want to be on your roster next year. Like if you really want to be a playoff team, but like probably all of them will be on the roster next year.
Yeah, if we're being realistic. Well, if we're being realistic, I think one of the goalies is off, and I think Olofsson's off. I think that I think that really realistically happens. Yoki Haru and Middlestat, there's no way they're moving on to them, unfortunately. Last question. Before we do the would you rather, I want to do a Sabres would you rather. Would you rather have Team A, Tage Thompson, Alex Tuch, Owen
Sabres
Power,
source.
Yuri Kulich? Nope, I changed it because I didn't like all of it. And
The Sabres.
Team B, Dylan Cousins, Jeff Skinner, Rasmus Dahlin, Matt Savoy, Jack Quinn.
What was the first team?
First team was Thompson, Tuch, Power, Kulich, Peterka.
I'm taking Team A.
Yeah, Team A all the way. I think
Jeff's going to age out. I think Power could equal Dahlin. Thompson's better than Cousins offense. Yeah, I'll put Thompson over Cousins.
I think
Kulich,
Palmer's the big.
Kulich is going to be a stud. And then I think Peterka is going to be more consistent than Quinn.
Would it matter if I changed Tuch and Skinner? No.
Yeah, then I'd flip it, honestly.
Oh, really?
I think Jeff stands out because he's going to age out.
Honestly, God, I had the teams like that and I flipped them at the end.
Jeff
kind
of makes it better for me.
I would agree with you on both. I'll push back a little bit. Thompson, Cousins, I'll take Thompson. Tuch, Skinner. Right now, it's net equal, but I think aging out, you'd probably give it. Dahlin is significant. I shouldn't significantly is a harsh word, but he's significantly right now better, more complete player than Power.
Yeah.
Aging out, yeah, I think Power could equal Dahlin, but I think that's going to take a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Savoy and Kulich, I think that's interesting. I don't know. I don't know really what to think about that because Kulich is putting up numbers that not a lot of 18-year-olds have done in the AHL. But then Matt Savoy also, after having that cold start, the beginning of the season is just going absolutely off in the WHL. That's going to be interesting how what they do with him because he has to go back to juniors next year because he can't go he can't go to the AHL because of the stupid junior whatever Canadian Hockey League rules. Quinn, though, I will say this. I totally disagree with you on your analysis on this, though. Quinn is right now better than Peterka, and I think will always be better than Peterka. Because I think Peterka is solid, but like he's average in his own zone, and he needs to get a little bit more a little bit better in the short areas offensively. Because he has good speed, but it seems like he's kind of a one-trick pony. Quinn kind of learned how to play that foretracking, retrieving of the puck management, puck protection game before Peterka. If Peterka can learn that, I mean, they're both going to be studs. You really can't go wrong with either team.
Yeah, honestly. That's a good problem to have to pick between those two.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So, we were off a little bit. So the goal leaders were this stretch was Skinner and Tuch with 4 and Skinner with 7. Joe had Skinner and Mitts.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I don't even know if I want to read yours.
Middlestat?
I had Middlestat that when we did this like 3 weeks ago.
Mike. You can say, hey, no, I have full confidence in Jostin Greenway. Are you kidding me?
I don't know if you're in the position to bargain. And then I had Skinner and Dahlin. So, Mike, just because you were just so off, which is kind of unfortunate because they both got injured, so it wasn't 100% your fault, but you could go first.
Tuch and goals, Dahlin points.
I will do. I'll do Cousins and Tuch. Joe?
I will do. I'm gonna go Tucky and Tucky. I think he has a week.
Dang, we're big Alex Tuch supporters this week.
He's my jersey. Met his mom. Come on, I gotta support. Come on.
You met his
met his
mom?
mom. Come on, you can't leave me out of that story.
We met his mom. Yes, we were walking down. Mike, were you not here for this? Did you not hear this story?
I guess not.
So we were walking down the stairwell, and I have my new Tuck jersey on, and he goes, "This is behind us." I hear, "Go Tuck," right? So I turn around, I'm like, "Yeah, go Tuck." It's this old, like, middle-aged woman, right? Like, I'm like, okay, got to be just a regular fan. And then I'm like, I'd like to see another. He already had scored, so I'm like, I'd like to see another one out of him before the game ends. It'd be awesome. And she goes, "How about 2 for a hat trick?" I said, "That'd be even better. It's fantastic." And then she goes, "I'm his mom." Then it clicked. She looked just like him. Do you remember? You go.
Yeah,
Tom?
no, yeah. I remember seeing her. So yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, we met Tuck. I
Nice.
kind of regret not pulling out the Sharpie and asking for an autograph.
That would have been so weird. That
On the back
Like
of the
Alex
Tuck
Tuck's
jersey,
a signed Alex Tuck jersey. Twist. It's his mother.
So
Tucky's
I'm
mom.
so glad you didn't do that. But
It's a one of a kind right there.
That is. I'd be the only one with that.
You
Come
gonna
on.
get that framed?
Yeah, I'd be
Okay.
the only one with that.
so there's 3 games this week. We're gonna be at Sabres game. We're gonna be at the Rangers home game on Friday. Then they're in Philadelphia, who they can never seem to beat on Saturday in a back-to-back, and then Tuesday they're in Florida. Record
1-1-1.
2-1.
I'm gonna say they're gonna go 1-2. Their only win will be Friday with a Devin Levi 3-0 shutout win.
Bro. Hey, little Bushkin hat trick.
Yes. I need to change my pick then. I think I might need to go Labushkin and Tuck.
Do you know what happens with the Labushkin hat trick at home ice?
We'll
Levi shutout.
We'll let the fans spectate on what happens.
Imagine that gummy bear playing 3 times in that arena. Can you imagine?
No.
Chairs would be ripped from the ground. It's not even funny. But I think that does it, fellas. Is that the Sabres topic for the day? Anything else we want to toss in there? So, Mike, it's a big day for you, my friend. You have the Would You Rather. Oh, wait, we have an extra segment in there. We're not going right to trivia, but take us to the Would You Rather, and then we'll let Dom introduce his new segment.
Yeah, we'll just do it real quick. We'll just be frank with it here.
Let's go.
So you're at like a Bills game.
Mhm.
Would you rather? It's the most exciting game of your life. You know, it's like the Bills Chiefs playoff game. You know, super exciting, but it's like below freezing, pouring rain, super windy, just miserable conditions. Most exciting game of your life, though. Or the most boring game you've ever watched. Like, it's just like so uninterested, but it's like a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. It's like 70 degrees, perfectly comfortable. Just enjoy the weather, enjoy the day.
I guess my question is this: do they win both games?
Yeah.
Exciting
Okay, then
game.
I'll take the bad weather.
I sat. Dom, you were at the Miami game too. I would rather sit in that all day when it's like exciting. Like they had the big final drive.
Back and forth. It was cold, snowing. Yeah, that's better than. I'm trying to think of an example of like a recent Bills game that was.
The Titans game.
That was like 40.
No, it was a blowout.
That was like 41.
Yeah, I mean, then the
That was a
backups
nice
went
night,
in
though.
though. The
That
backups
was nice.
went in.
It was okay. That was that weather, but it was like that wasn't a boring game. That was a very exciting game. Like I'm thinking of like a. You know what I'm thinking of? You know when they beat the Jets the one year where they won like 18-10, they kicked like 6 field goals.
Yes.
That kind of game. But with that, yeah, I'm still taking the bad weather in the. I like cheering.
All right, Dom.
Honestly, I'd take the good weather. Like, you know, it'd just be enjoyable.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I'd just be
I like
miserable
the exciting
sitting in
game. I
poor
like the
weather.
exciting game.
It matters if it's
Freezing
raining,
cold rain with like 50-mile-an-hour winds would just be.
I guess if
atrocious.
it's that, I would agree. If it's
like
just
it's just
snow-
horrible. No, it's like rain and cold and like windy.
Okay, then I'll take the good weather. I'll chicken out of that. I'm not about the rain.
I sat through that Colts game last year in the cold rain when they got stomped on. I'll take the exciting game. I feel like either way.
Right. So, new segment. We've been consistently calling people past their prime. So I thought I'd make a new segment where one of us every week brings up a player, coach, whatever, GM, and puts them to the committee. And the committee has to unanimously agree to put them in the past of prime Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So I am first up. And I didn't know who to pick. I was like, this is a lot of pressure. And then just the other day, this person was quoted about saying why their team's fans should be optimistic of saying, "Have you seen the last 25 years?" My first candidate, maybe not the ideal first candidate, Bill Belichick.
I could see it. He's been 500 over his last 3 years, I think. So.
Take Brady away from Belichick, and he's past his prime.
I just don't think he's ever going to get a contender back in New England.
No, I agree with you. I'll put him in the past his prime.
Mike?
Wait, does that have to be football?
That could be anything.
Sport.
I just want next week you could have it, Mike.
Oh, I thought we were all doing it right now.
We just vote on it.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I agree with that. Okay, I get it.
Put that engraved, Joe. Bill Belichick, the first member of the past your prime Hall of Fame.
Write it on something. I don't know. Wow, I love that. I love the fact that Bill Belichick's the first member of the past his prime Hall of Fame. It's fantastic. I got to get some theme music for this that we could play every time. Just like some goofy stuff. But Mike, Dom, that's a great segment. Excited to keep doing that. Mike, it's trivia time.
Yes. The final thing.
Look for the Gummy Bear stores on November 13th with lots of music, videos, and extras.
Okay. He's just going to play Gummy Bear over it.
Yep, it's trivia time.
Right or like?
Yeah, talk over it. Oh, come on, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
I have no idea.
So we all know Stephon Diggs has the most receiving touchdowns in a single season for Bills history, but who is he tied with?
Bill Brooks.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like these questions are easy this time, just because like they're kind of ones that came across quick. But yeah, it is.
What if I have an internet delay, man? I didn't even have a chance to answer that one. That was rapid fire from Dom right now.
All right, Kiko.
Well,
I'm sure
next time.
I'm sure the next one will be simple because like I saw a post about it right after it happened. So Rosek had 2 points in his debut.
Oh God.
Who's the last Sabre to have 2 points in their debut?
Oh.
Do you know it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he probably saw the post. Joe.
I don't know. I didn't see a post. I have no idea.
1999, some guy named Maxim Afinogenov.
Against Boston.
2-for-2. Can I finish cap off the perfect trivia?
Yep.
Not.
All right. Third question. This one's like just really random. I think it's kind of funny though. What's the Bandits' current record?
11-3.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
They weren't very difficult. You know what?
That one was kind of difficult.
That was kind of a trick one. Trap card.
I wanted to say.
You know what? Next week, I'll come in with 3 extremely difficult questions.
Oh, God.
For you.
All right. Without further ado, that's going to end it for this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. And Dom, how do you always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills. We're not getting to go Sabres today, Mike. What's going on?
Oh, go Sabres. Sorry, I started zoning out.